Alright guys, today I'm going to be pulling apart this carburetor from a pushmower that I have. Normally if your lawnmower's not running right, or it's running really rough, or it just doesn't run at all, a lot of times it'll be your carburetor. If you have spark, then you have a fuel issue. So it could be your carburetor. A lot of times if you leave fuel in your carburetor and let it sit for a long, or in your pushmower or any power sport or mower, it will gum up the carburetor, and then you'll have to take it apart and clean it out. So today we're going to be using a 13mm socket and ratchet, or a 13mm wrench for this carburetor, because we have to take out this bolt. For some carburetors it's a screwdriver, Phillips flathead, whatever. It just depends on what your carburetor is. This is a pushmower carburetor for like a 6 horsepower or 6.5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton flathead. But for four-wheelers and riding mowers and everything else, it'll be all kinds of different. But for this particular carburetor, it's a very common carburetor for a lot of push mowers, or the ones I work on. So, yep, I think we'll just get right into tearing it apart. Yeah. Alright, so we've taken off the bowl of the carburetor right here. It always looks really clean inside, so that's good. So if it's not clean, you're going to want to clean that up first. And I use wire brushes and some carburetor cleaner to do that. Spray it in there and use wire brushes and stuff and clean that out. Make sure you don't rip this gasket right here. I can pull mine off because this one's a newer one. This is a very old lawnmower, but a lot of times these will be stuck on there pretty good. You just leave it and don't rip it. Alright, now we're going to pull the float pin out right here. That's what it looks like, just a rod that goes through the hole in the float where it pivots. You're going to pull your float out. Here's your jet right here, and this goes into this hole right here. So when obviously this would be upside down like that, so when gas gets dumped in here, your float, which would be sitting right here, floats up to the top and pushes down on this jet, and that creates a seal and stops the gas from coming in, which is right, because the gas comes in right through here. So it basically, the gas stops itself as it fills up. Some of them have a seal like this on the jet where it's black on the end. It's a rubber seal. And some of them have a little red ring inside of there that's also a seal. And then your float, it just slides in under this little piece here when you put it back together. Okay, so now we're in this part of the carburetor, just the main body is left. So what we do here is, first off, if you're fortunate enough to have ultrasonic cleaner, if you do this a lot, you should invest in one of those. You'll fill that up with degreaser and water, mostly water with a little bit of degreaser, and then turn it on for 30 minutes and heat it up, and that'll clean out a lot of this gunk that's in here. Then after that, you want to spray it out, and even if you don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, you're going to spray it out with carburetor cleaner, and take these, and take a like a wire and shove it through the holes and clean them all out. So on this one, there's a lot of big holes. Like there's two in here. There's one where the jet goes. You'll go through right through here in the where the fuel line hooks up to. In this part of it, right here in the front of the carburetor, you go through your primer bulb line, and then these two air vents to the bowl, and that's it. So you go through those lines, but obviously on different carburetors it'll be different. And you just go through all the holes, make sure that if you spray it in a hole, it should come out this other side. Wherever that is, you should see carburetor cleaner or brake cleaner or whatever you're using squirt out the other side of that passageway. Once you do all that, and you make sure that every passageway is clean and clear of any debris or any ethanol that's just like gunk now, then you want to put all this back together, and then you're pretty much done. But I do want to explain how this works. What are you doing when you're cleaning this? So like I was saying, fuel comes into the float bowl area, and it fills up and pushes this float up and stops fuel from coming in. Well, the fuel comes straight from this fuel line, where you hooked up your fuel line, goes straight through that hole. There's nothing in between that. And then it fills up your float bowl, and then this bolt that you took out actually has holes in it. It's got a hole on the bottom and two on the sides there, and all the way on the other side. It's like a T that goes through this bolt. So when this bolt is screwed into your carburetor, then the gas will go up, or it will go into the float bowl, and once it's got enough, the float bowl will close it. But all the while, the gas is going through these little holes and going out the hole in the bottom of the bolt, and then going into these two holes here, which go up into the main like the body of the carburetor, I guess you'd call it. And if you can see it, there's a golden, what looks like a hose in the middle of this hole. So the gas goes up that, and the vacuum from the engine pulls it up that tube and out this side into the engine. And this is a vent for, this is a vent for the float bowl down there. So yeah, that's pretty much all to carburetors there. Different like rod and mower carburetors and things like that will have float springs, and this is just the basics of a carburetor. Bigger carburetors like four-wheelers and even sometimes riding lawnmowers have mixture screws to adjust your air-fuel mixture, and you'll want to adjust that just depending on your motor or your mower or whatever, because everything's different. So you'll need to adjust it. With push mowers, it's such a simple engine. It doesn't have one. If your mower it might run a little rich, it might run a little lean, too much or too little fuel, but that's okay because it's just a push mower. So it doesn't need to be tuned like that. But if you sometimes your like butterfly. Sorry, I couldn't figure out the word there. This butterfly for your is for the air and gas mixture actually. So when you open this up, like right here is like stop. The engine is stopped. Here is like idle. When you open it just a little ways, and then when it's at full throttle, then it opens all the way up, gives it all the air and all the fuel from back behind it, and pulls through your air filter and up that little golden looking hose thing that comes up from the float bowl, and it pulls that from the vacuum in the engine, from the vacuum the engine creates. So you're just letting more in, and that makes the engine spin up to higher RPM that way. But sometimes this can snap, or the little butterfly, the golden piece, will get bent or broken, and you just pull out the golden piece. You can just put some needle nose pliers on it and gently pull it out like towards you, and it will just pop out, and then this plastic piece can come out and you can replace it or whatever you need to do. Or if they get a lot of play in them, since this is plastic, the plastic will wear, not the metal. If it's metal, then both the throttle body and the butterfly might wear, so it'll still be a little loose. But if it's just the plastic, it will wear, and then you'll need to put a new one in, because or else it'll be a vacuum leak. It'll just be sucking more air in through here than it needs and making the engine run worse. So, yep, that's pretty much all there is to it, to a carburetor. You just take it apart, clean it out, put it back together. For these simple ones, it's really easy to do that. Cars and stuff, is power valves and accelerator pumps and everything else to get your engine tuned and running better. But a push mower just runs at the same RPM all the time, so it doesn't need that much like tunability, I guess. It doesn't need that much. But yep, I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching this short video. Yep, I guess I'll see you next time. Bye.